Welcome, everybody, to the 6th annual Smark Out Moment Awards for 2015. This is the 6th edition that we're doing for this whole thing, the 5th time that we're recording it, 2nd time that we're recording it with Google Hangouts, and we got a lot of people that are there this time around. I'm going to introduce everybody one by one, but my first person I got to introduce, of course, is myself. I am your host, as always, Tony Mango, and joining me on the panel, I'm going to bring them up one by one here. We've got Calen Ferris.
What's happening, everybody?
We've got Drew White.
I'm a part of the Tony panel.
Yes, you are. We got shuffling around and disappearing again like he did when we were trying to record the beginning of this. Mike Paden.
Hey!
Hey, we can hear him.
Hi, Mike.
We've got Shaun Walker.
I just spilt my cider every fucking way.
I'm not surprised.
Sucks to be you, nerd.
We've got Steven Wago.
Shouldn't have done that. He was just a boy.
Little boy. All right, so what we're going to be doing here is breaking down over 30 categories, I think. We got technical awards, we've got performer awards, writing awards, and we've got the Smack Talk awards. Those are going to be the ones that you guys voted for, and we voted for too, and like that. So I'm going to break down everything that happened with all that stuff. That's coming up in part 4. We need to go through 3 other parts beforehand, and I'm going to set this to where it'll go back and forth between us here. And we're going to go right into the technical awards, and we're going to start off with the first technical award that makes perfect sense, entrance. Best and the worst entrance. And if you don't know what's going on with the 2015 Smack Talk Awards and everything like that, we do the best and the worst of everything in WWE. And why don't we start off with the worst things here? And we're just going to give quick answers for stuff for the most part and kind of just keep things pretty relaxed here. Worst entrance of the year. I'm giving this to Emma. And there's 2 reasons why, really. I hate Emma's original entrance, that whole, that thing. And when she changed it a little bit for the better, but she still has that annoying theme song, and I can't stand it. I think it's one of the worst theme songs that they have in the company right now. And the way that she kind of comes out and she doesn't know what to do yet, that kind of illustrates why I don't really like it. So bad things for Emma. There's going to be quite a bit of Emma shit talking here. A little bit sad about that, but my best entrance of the year, I'm going to give to Finn Balor, and specifically his one from NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. I liked that one the best out of all of them. And if you remember at the beginning of the year, I wasn't so big on Finn Balor's entrance, and I thought it was kind of overrated and kind of ridiculous in certain ways. You know, everybody just going, ah! Yeah, I was like,
Oh, so you realized you were wrong.
So, yeah.
I realized I was wrong, and I'm going to have to give him the best. I mean, he amped it up each time. He keeps changing it a little bit, just a little bit here and there, not too much, not crazy amounts or anything. And it's fun. I mean, the dark atmosphere is better than what, Bray Wyatt's been doing, and the idea of the whole, the demon thing. Now he did what was it, the Jack the Ripper type of thing or whatever from not Brooklyn, London. That was great. I mean, I'm a big fan of it, so I gotta eat my words from before. Finn Balor, best intro of the year. So, Calen, I'm going to start off with you since we were going around this kind of thing and you're the first person on my screen like this. What are your best and your worst entrances for the year?
See, for my best, I was kind of split between 2. I was thinking Finn Balor, because that is very, very cool, and I like how he switches it up each time. But I'm going to have to go with The Undertaker. It's classic. I like how they switched it up, especially at Survivor Series, I think was the one where they had the Brothers of Destruction come out, and they did the 25 years of The Undertaker. They had the different images of him pop up on the screen. They had the big coffin and everything. I'm going to go with The Undertaker at Survivor Series for my best entrance. For the worst, it goes with one of my favorite performers, but his theme has this annoying siren going in it that distracts me every time, and that would be, of course, Cesaro. Fantastic, yeah, right. Fantastic performer, and his music is actually pretty good too. If you just get rid of that damn siren, so that I'm gonna, because it's too distracting. Every time it comes on, I'm like, the song's good. Get rid of the damn siren. Cesaro gets worst.
Drew, best and worst entrance. What do you got?
All right, so for my worst, Primetime Players, easily 100%. The original theme was my favorite theme, went back in 2012, and making moves. They're not making $1 million moves now, and I promise you that's for damn sure. So, worst Primetime Players. For best, see, I could go with the old man answer by old man Calen Ferris by saying The Undertaker, but that's not what this is about. See, Undertaker can win the Lifetime Achievement. For this year especially, and I was thinking about Finn Balor as well, but I've decided to go with Enzo and Cass, and it's not so much with the music, because the music's pretty cool itself, but Enzo just like hyping everyone up, like saying everyone's nicknames from Cass's to Carmella's from himself, and then when they get into the ring, it's just amazing, and the crowd goes along with it every single time. It's one of the most interactive themes, and that's definitely one that I would wish to be a part of someday as well. You know, very reminiscent of like Road Dogg and Billy Guns when it comes to crowd interaction. So easily those two for best of the year.
Paden, you're up next. Best worst entrance. What do you got?
For worst, I have to give to someone who was a legend and somebody we were waiting a long time to finally see get into a WWE ring. And when he finally made that grand stage debut, they decided to give him a Asian drum band.
Was this your worst from last year as well?
Wait, this was this year, wasn't it?
Yeah, but he debuted at
year.
Survivor Series last year.
That was this year.
Yeah, that was.
They didn't give him the drum band.
Oh, you're talking about the individual thing. Okay, that's what you're saying now.
Yeah, you know, the award that you just gave your version of. Yeah.
Oh.
All right, so I have to give it to Sting's WrestleMania entrance this year. It just, you know, it was a grand scale thing, and the band was cool, and if I was just seeing them on a random school trip or something, maybe that would be great. It just so missed the mark for Sting and was not feeling like an entrance for him at all.
Yeah.
You know, you compare that to how good they generally are in these things, it was just so off. And I don't know if it was his decision or if it was someone in backstage there. I'm gonna look at the Gopher, but that's what I got to give the worst of the year. The best.
You're blaming it on Kevin Dunn.
Who?
The Gopher? You're blaming it on Kevin Dunn?
No, I meant that little thing that you use to grab stuff up from the ground, the Gopher. So the best, I also have to give it to Finn Balor. Just an amazing entrance that they've been building upon. Every time he's come out, they've changed it just a little bit. You know, it used to be the Undertaker had this entrance where everyone was like, it's just on a different level. No one will have an entrance like that just because it's not part of their gimmick. It doesn't work like that. So now that someone is finally having something like that, it's exciting, and I can't wait to see what else they do with it, especially when they bring that to like a WrestleMania stage, or they seem to be really doing special things with different areas they're in. So maybe when they go into like a Texas, maybe he'll come out like a cowboy. I don't know. Or they'll take it all different types of zany directions.
The Demon Cowboy, Ghost Rider.
Skip Sheffield.
Shaun, best and worst entrance. First, you gotta unmute your mic. Don't pull away, guy.
Yeah. Best? No, I should start with worst, right? I'm sorry, but my notes are kind of wet, and the ink is kind of rough.
My notes are wet, so I can't read them.
Seriously, look at this. Look at this shit.
Jesus Christ.
Spoiler alert for the ones coming up later on.
Worst I've gone with Charlotte Flair. Just because I don't like her woo. I fucking hate it. Best is tied. I got Finn Balor for Japan. I love that entrance. And WrestleMania, Seth Rollins, when he cashed in his Money in the Bank. Fucking
Best entrance.
best entrance ever. So good. And plus, he won the title, so you know, best entrance because he won the title.
Best entrance because it was over quickly.
Mm-hmm.
What is that gay shit behind Shaun? I don't know. Leave us in a comment below. Tell us what you think that gay shit is.
I'm in my kitchen. It's home is where your heart belongs. So yeah,
That's
very gay.
shit.
All right, Wago. Last up here. Best and worst entrance. What do you got?
Worst, I'm actually going to give it to Hideo Itami. He was meant to be this big deal coming over. They made a big deal of him in Japan. And that entrance is just so fucking underwhelming for a guy like that. I don't know what else they could do for him because he's kind of bland, but something, even the theme music, something could have been better. He's just very underwhelming. And then when you've got Finn Balor as his tag partner, the comparison is like shocking. So I think that like helps cripple him. As far as
That's why he's been injured for a while.
No, like seriously, his momentum,
Crippleitis.
his momentum has been crippled. It's done.
Like they were all going like, "Oh, did Kevin Owens? Is he the one that injured him?" And it's like, nah, his entrance injured him. Well, it worked for Sami Zayn, right?
Hey, fuck, you're right. And the best, it's been said before, it's Balor. And yeah, everyone's given a good enough reason.
By the way, Paden, you realize that that's coming up on the screen all the time, right?
Coming up on your screen. Coming
Coming up on my screen and stuff, yeah.
Sounds like a problem for you and for everybody else watching.
Just fix it in post.
Nah, not gonna allow that work. By the way, Wago, I hope that your hat changes into other hats midway through.
I do have other hats, but I'll have to go get them between videos.
All right, so since we don't have fan votes for those kind of things, we're not going to talk about what you guys think. But as we do with every single one of these, leave your comments below. Tell us what you think the best and the worst were. We're going to move along to signature maneuver. I'm going to give my worst to anybody that doesn't have a signature maneuver for a finisher or anything else like that. And if I have to pinpoint one person in particular, it's Adam Rose. I don't even remember if he has like a set way for him to finish a match. But then again, I started thinking about it. I don't know if he has a signature maneuver.
Well, he never finishes a match, Tony.
But I don't remember him doing anything that he's done
Had
from
some
one
type
match
of
to
like
another.
Yeah, no,
monster.
No, yeah, he had the party foul. It was basically like the original Dirty Deeds, but it was like the head was up over the shoulder rather than held underneath.
See, I don't remember that at all. That's just so it's got to be the most.
It's because
underwhelming
like
of all of them.
7 people had that same kind of move at the time.
Yeah.
Well, he stands out above the rest of them to me as just unforgettable, and there's multiple people that can fit in with this. I mean, I don't remember what Curtis Axel's finisher is. I don't even remember what Damien Sandow's been using or anything like that. So you can fill in the blank with any of them. But my favorite signature maneuver, the best of the year, I came so close to giving this to Kevin Owens for the pop-up powerbomb, but what narrowed it out just the tiniest bit is Neville's Red Arrow. It's just, it's fun to watch. It looks like it would hurt. It's something that nobody else on the roster is doing right now. So it's not like the Adam Rose thing where everybody's doing a DDT or something. Who else is going to do the Red Arrow? It's just Neville. So he gets the nod to me. He gets the best. I'm going to go in reverse here because why not? Wago, best and the worst signature maneuver of the year.
I'm giving it to the exact same person. Seth Rollins. Worst fucking pedigree ever. Some of those early ones were fucking dreadful. He made the move a laughingstock. As far as the best goes, that Phoenix Splash. It's so fucking out of control that it looks like he doesn't even know how to fucking control it. It's awesome looking.
Good choice. Shaun?
Worst is either going to be Dean or Roman, because Dean is just a double arm DDT and Roman is just a fucking spear. Like, I haven't seen those before. Best, I'm going to stick with my guns and say the RKO. The RKO for me has been my favorite finisher for the longest time, so fuck it. That's why I'm going with the RKO.
Never seen an RKO before, that's for damn sure.
Shaun's choice came out of nowhere. Paden.
The worst I'm going to give to the collective people who do super kicks, because there's too goddamn many of you. Find a move of your own, all right? You don't have to bastardize Shawn Michaels.
At least do a mega kick, you know? Do an ultra kick every once in a while. Change it up.
The best I'm going to give to Alberto Del Rio's corner foot stomp thingamabobber. I don't know what the hell it's called. I don't think he has a name for it. I believe we came up with the name border jump. I'm pretty sure it's not the official name for it.
I
but,
hope it is.
It should
really
be.
hope it is.
That move is brutal. It's getting a little overdone, but the first few times he did that, especially the first time, I think it was to Neville. Holy cow, he just completely killed the guy. That movie's coming out called Concussion. I would have thought that was about Neville after that move.
Hey, Del Rio, tell the truth. Tell it. Did you give your best and the worst?
Yes, I did.
Okay, Drew.
For my best and worst, I gave my worst to Seth Rollins' pedigree because it's an abysmal, it is a terrible, and yeah, go back to the curb stomp. For my best, I'm going to give it to Seth Rollins' curb stomp because it's incredible. It's everything I hoped and wished it would be. And, anytime he gave someone a curb stomp, I thought of the movie Concussion as well. So, though no one gets a concussion, so WWE needs to stop being a bunch of pansies. Give the man a goddamn finisher that's his own and not a copy of Triple H's semi-decent to okay finisher.
By the way, I'm going to throw this out there for people watching this. Take a drink every time one of us takes a drink. There's your drinking game for this episode. Calen, best and worst signature maneuver. Who gets a good thumbs up? Who gets a thumbs down?
For my best signature maneuver, I'm going to have to agree with you, Tony. I got to go with the Red Arrow by Neville. It looks fantastic every time he does it. It's, I believe, one of the most protected moves right now. I don't know if anyone has kicked out of it cleanly, have they? I know there's been interference and stuff. But
Sami Zayn.
did he kick out of it clean? Okay.
Mhm.
But not very many people. Not very many. So I have to go with the Red Arrow. That's always fun to watch. As far as the worst goes, the pedigree is tempting to vote for, but I'm going to have to go with one that makes me cringe every time I see it. And I like it when another superstar does it. But when his wife does it, I don't like it. And that would be the yes kicks. When Brie Bella tries to do the yes kicks, it's obvious she's just riding the coattails of her husband, who's way more over than she is. And every time she does it, it's pandering to the crowd, and it's just terrible. I cringe.
I'd
I'm
bend
gonna
her
do the
over.
yes kicks.
Then we have spot and botch. It's not really the same thing as like, what's the best spot, the worst spot, the best botch, the worst botch, because you can't really have that. So it's sort of 50-50 separation here. What's the best spot of the year and what's the worst botch of the year? I had a tie. I couldn't decide between the worst botches, and I ended up separating it in a way where it's the worst technical botch is Titus O'Neil's elimination at the Royal Rumble. He was supposed to get a quick elimination, and he didn't do it, and you could tell that it was a botch. I mean, Paden and I were in the crowd. We were looking at that, and we were just like, didn't do it, dude. You didn't jump. And I don't know if it was anybody's issue that they weren't clotheslining him the right way, or he didn't jump high enough, or what, but whoever was responsible for that, or it could have been all of them, I don't know. Even just the idea behind it was pretty stupid, so I didn't like that at all. But on a writing side of things, the worst botch of the year, Reigns and Lesnar struggle over the title belt on the go-home edition of Monday Night Raw before WrestleMania. That is your big takeaway. These two are going to beat the shit out of each other at the biggest event of the year, and they're just sitting there going like this. I want it. I want it. Stupidest writing botch of the year. Best spot of the year? WrestleMania, I wrote down one that I was pretty sure I wasn't too happy about, and throughout the year I was hoping that we would get a lot better options. We really didn't, and it came down to a point where it was either that option or the one that I went with, which some people might not even think that it's really a good option when it comes to best spot, but it's in the Seth Rollins and Neville match on Monday Night Raw, which was August 8th, I think, if I have that correct. There was a spot where Neville does the Red Arrow, and Seth Rollins gets pinned, and we think that he's going to actually have that 3 count, but the way that they positioned it and everything like that, his feet go up on the ropes. And his feet go up on the ropes based off of how Neville is pinning him. And it's something that if they could have done that wrong, it would have looked awful. But they did it so perfectly. They had the right timing from when he's climbing up and he jumps off, he lands him, he pins him, he's right on there. The referee did a great job of like 1, 2, 3. Oh no, it's not that. It was perfect. And you could have somebody powerbomb themselves or another person through a ladder, or you can have chair shots or whatever like that. I'm gonna give this one to more of like a just well done maneuver rather than what was the goriest thing or something like that. So, Calen, best spot and worst botch. What do you think?
The best spot, well, you kind of alluded to it, but it was from the most recent pay-per-view that we've seen, TLC, and that was when Kalisto did the Salida del Sol off the top of the ladder with the Uso onto the other ladder, followed by a swanton off the top rope. That whole sequence was great. Like I was saying when we did our review of the show, that was one moment that I think I actually got out of my seat, and I was like, oh yeah, that's awesome! And the product hasn't been doing that for me a lot lately, so it was nice to have that sort of adrenaline excitement for a move. So I'm going to say that is my top spot of the year. As far as the worst botch, I was thinking also, because I had bitched about it quite a bit with the Kevin Owens not touching the rope before the 3 count, but I'm not going to go with that. We're gonna forget that. For my worst botch, I'm going to go with a moment that could have been a really cool spot had the superstar kind of rolled with it. And that's at the IC title Elimination Chamber match. And that was when Mark Henry's pod broke open early, And he's just sort of standing there for a minute, like, what do I do? What do I do? Do I go? Do I stay here? And then eventually, like, it felt like 30 seconds later, he eventually got into the ring and like, okay, well, I'm in the match now. If he were a badass, he just would have been like, oh, my pod's open. I'm going to come out here and kick your guys' ass. But he just looked so hesitant. It was obvious that it wasn't supposed to happen that way. And I think if he would have just rolled with it and just injected himself in the match right away, it would have been cool. But he just looked so timid at that time. I didn't think it was very, didn't make him look intimidating. So I'm going to go with that for my worst botch.
Drew, spot and botch. What do you think?
Botch of the year, definitely 100% has to be the Titus O'Neil not being eliminated fast enough to break the record. And you kind of said it, but I think he just like jumped at the wrong time and he couldn't like get the leverage to go over the ropes. So like him, I think it was like Dean and Dolph had to do like a double, like put extra oomph on it to get him over. So yeah, that's my worst botch or botch of the year. For spot, it was really down between two. One of them was not Seth Rollins, Randy Orton's RKO to Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. And it was between that and also the Neville pin that you were talking about earlier, where they had me. They hook, line, and sinkered me. They made me believe that he was actually about to lose the title going into that SummerSlam match where he's World Heavyweight Championship versus U.S. Champion title unification type of thing. So I narrowed it down between those two, and I ended up doing a coin flip to decide, and I'm going to go with the RKO on the Seth Rollins, mainly because at the time I just thought that was an incredible spot. Like it's I don't know if I wouldn't call it innovative, but it was definitely caught me off guard. I didn't think that they would be able to pull something off of that spot. So that is going to be my spot of the year.
Paden, up next. What do you think?
Biggest botch of the year was the handling of Damian Sandow after finally separating from The Miz. That guy was primed, ready to be a big star for the middle card, and they just brought him out there for one night. He gave a pretty decent speech, and then he became Macho Man down. We never heard from him again, really. What a waste. Best spot of the year, though, I have to go with from NXT Brooklyn, that women's match that they had when Bayley and Sasha Banks are up on the top rope and she does that reverse Hurricane Rana, flipping her over. That was just bonkers. I was there live for that, and I knew that match was going to be on another level. I did not expect something like that in that match. Just blew me away.
Shaun, spot botch.
Spot botch. Botch, I got Titus O'Neil. And spot is the RKO at WrestleMania, the way Randy just flicked Seth Rollins up in the air and the way he caught him. I thought that was like the best RKO of all time, and I'm sticking with my guns. The RKO is the best move and the best spot of all time of 2015.
Of all time of 2015. Wago, round us out here. What's the best spot? What's the worst botch?
The worst botch is going to be another booking decision, but it's going to be the Roman Reigns Royal Rumble. Couldn't have planned that out any worse. You even trotted The Rock out there just to try and get him some pity cheers, and it didn't work. Fucking terrible. As far as the best spot goes, I'm going to have to give it to Seth Rollins cashing in. It was one of those things where, okay, it might happen, but when it did happen and it ended that way, it was just cool as fuck. Everyone was happy.
Takes us into another category here, recognition. I keep changing the name of this every year because I can't quite decide on what it's going to end up being, but it boils down to who's the most underrated person on the roster and who's the most overrated, who deserves the credit that they get and who isn't worthy of whatever praise that they get from, whether it's WWE themselves or it's the IWC or whatever the case may be. This was tough. I had two people for both of them, and I didn't decide until right when we were about to record this. I almost gave most overrated to Sheamus, and then I realized, you know what? That was more so just because I don't like him all that much, and I can't just be, biased when it comes to that. So I'm giving my most overrated to Bray Wyatt. And that's not that I hate Bray Wyatt or anything like that. I just think that he's been booked as... What's a good way to put it? Like, he's considered a top guy right now, and he doesn't give me top guy stuff as much as he should. For somebody who is so far above a lot of other people on the roster. He should be doing a lot better. And he needs to step up his game if he's going to be somebody who's going to actually win a world title in the future. Most underrated, I said I only had 2 people down here. Almost gave it to Cody Rhodes, but he wants to do the Stardust thing. If that's what you want to do, that's what you're going to get. And if I had to boil it down to somebody who I think deserves to have a lot more credit than when they actually get, it's Fandango. That guy has been getting screwed over so much this year. He's not even on TV, and he hasn't been for months now. And I don't know why. The guy's good in the ring. The guy doesn't have the best character in the world, and he's not the best on the mic, but when you're underrated or overrated, it doesn't mean that you need to necessarily go from a jobber to being the world champion. And he's somebody who he could at least be intercontinental level. Maybe not like the champion, but, challenging for it. Or in a tag team or something. Use him in some capacity. And he hasn't even, I don't even think he's been on Superstars or Main Event in months or something. So that's a huge waste of a guy who's really talented. I think the last time I saw him was on Swerved or something, which is just like a waste. So Wago, you're kind of bringing the airplane down. I don't know what was going on with that, but what do you think with overrated, underrated?
So for my overrated, I have it for one Seth Rollins. I'm a fan of his, but at the same time, the guy gets way more props than he deserves. Guy's a shitty promo. As far as underrated, I have to give it to Tyson Kidd. I think he's been a guy that's been underlooked for so goddamn long, and he's one of the best on the roster.
What do you mean, Wago? My promos are great!
Let me lean back in the chair. That's so bad. Shaun, you're probably pissed at that one, but what do you think? Who's overrated and underrated?
Overrated, I've gone with Roman Reigns. The only reason why he's where he is because he's related to The Rock. Underrated, I'm going to go with Cesaro. I really appreciate Cesaro. I think he's really good in the ring, and this guy needs to be pushed to the fucking moon. So push him in 2016 when he's back, fit. Make him win the Rumble. I like it if he wins the Rumble. He needs to win the Rumble.
I don't think he's back for 2016 Rumble.
Then, Money in the Bank.
Paden, overrated, underrated, who is deserving of more praise and not enough?
Well, the people that are certainly the most overrated, I have to go with the tag team of the Usos. I recently spoke a lot about how I was just not excited for whenever they came back, just a little bit before they did come back. And I knew that I was not going to be into the same old shtick with them. And boy, was I right. These guys have just been a chore since they've come back. I have not really enjoyed much of anything they've done. They really need to shake something up because they're just bland and boring, and they're at that same state that Kofi Kingston was a few years ago, where when he was coming out, I was like, all right, I don't even want to watch this part. Underrated, without a doubt. I don't know how there could be any argument for anyone else in that company that's not appreciated enough than Sasha Banks. This girl is just absolutely amazing. She has it all to be a top star in that company. Not just a top star in the women's division. I mean a top star in the company. She can be their Ronda Rousey. She can be their Serena Williams. And they're doing nothing with this girl. She's sitting there as part of the team with Unity, and they're focusing on the daughter of Flair so that she can walk around and woo. And Paige, God bless her, I love the girl. She's wonderful. She could be feuding with Sasha Banks then. Everyone should be around the main character of it, and that should be Sasha Banks. And I don't know if they're just waiting, if they're doing that stupid game they like to play where they see if a person's loyal enough to stick it out. But this girl deserves so much better.
So I'm curious, is Serena that much better than Venus?
Yeah, it is. It's noticeable. She's won a lot more titles than.
I can't say via stats or anything, but I know.
Oh, I can.
I know as far as like public opinion, she's the much more regarded sister.
That's gotta suck for Venus.
Oh, Venus is.
Yeah, you said she's gonna be the next Ronda Rousey. I'm like, after the last fight, I don't know. She wants to end up that way.
Still made a lot of money for the company, and whatever happens with her going on, she's still going to be regarded as one of the biggest draws in the history of UFC.
True that.
Alrighty, Drew, most overrated, most underrated.
Alright, so for the most overrated, and I didn't really want to give it to this person, but mainly due to what they've done this year, I've had to, and that's Titus O'Neil, and They've given him opportunity this year when it comes to the tag teams. They've had him go out and do promos and just a bunch of other stuff. He fucks up a botch after the Rumble. Ugh, you know how it is. But he's given opportunity and he just never does much with it. And people say how good he is on the mic. Well, show me, because usually he just goes out there now and tries to promote something, or he tries to be over the top corny, and it doesn't usually work. I think he's someone who, if he's used incorrectly, he could be a decent mid-card type of guy, but he doesn't deserve what he gets because he doesn't do anything with it. He's not good in the ring, even though he's average, but he's not that good. Yeah, he's just average on the mic. I just think they give him way too much to do, and you don't need to use him. For underrated, it was between Stardust and Tyson Kidd, and I ended up going with Tyson Kidd because, listen, Stardust has been given opportunity in the past, and Tyson Kidd, he was starting to get some opportunity on the main roster before he got that unfortunate nerve injury, and I do hope he comes back because he was my favorite going on in the whole wrestling company before the injury. So, someone who went down to NXT and learned his character. He helped develop younger stars, and now he was being used on the main roster prior to this. I don't think he's ever going to be someone who will be a world champion or shoot. He might only win the IC or US belt once, but that one time he does win it, I'll be the happiest person in the world. Definitely someone who's underutilized, and definitely someone who, when he comes back, I hope they use correctly.
Calen, round us out here. Who's the most underrated? Who's the most overrated?
For the most overrated, I am on the same page as Mike. I gotta say the Usos. There was a while where I was really into them, and then as I was getting bored with them, the injury sort of took them out of action for a while. So that was good, I think. That helped, so they didn't get completely stale to me. Then after a while, they came back, which was cool. I was sort of anticipating it, actually. I was like, cool, I can't wait to see them back. And then they're back, and it's just the same thing. And I'm like, okay, I'm bored. Like, I understand that they're very popular with the kids. The crowds love them. I like them, but I definitely think they get way more praise than they're due. So I'm going to have to go with the Usos. As far as the most underrated, this one was kind of a split. I was thinking maybe Sasha Banks, but I'm going to have to go with somebody who's been on the main roster longer, and opportunity just seems to keep passing him by. And he's out right now with injury, which sucks, and that would be Cesaro. I'm going to agree with Shaun. He is over with the fans, but I don't know what it's going to take for this guy to get the push that he needs, or that he deserves, rather. He's super talented. I think he's put on some of the best matches of the year. It sucks that he's injured now, but he definitely is underutilized, if anything. So I'm going to go underrated Cesaro.
Keeping us a little bit onto the recognition side of things, this is the next awards, the improvement in a superstar. Who ended up having the biggest improvement and who ended up having the biggest regression. They took a step up, they upgraded their game, or who just started to go from being great to shit. My biggest regression is Damien Sandow. God damn it, dude. Beginning of the year, as Paden was saying earlier, beginning of the year, this guy was so prime for just a massive push. And he could have been a push to the world title even. At the very least, he could have been a push towards the IC or the US title. Where's he been? He's been nothing for months now. And you can say that part of that was because of the Macho Man and Hulk Hogan Mega Powers thing that they were doing, where Hulk Hogan kind of screwed it up. But they weren't using them that much before that anyway. And if they were really going to use Damien Sandow, that wouldn't have gotten in the way. That would have been a momentary lapse, and he would have came back as whatever his next character would have been, whether it was Damien Sandow like he used to be, or maybe he would try out that Sizzle character that he does on Up, Up, Down, Down, or which I hope he doesn't. Please don't ever do that. But Sandow, man, he was a big guy in this Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and he's nothing now. He might even be lower than Fandango, which is a shame. But my biggest improvement, and I don't think I need to talk much about them, but it's the New Day. I think it's kind of self-explanatory. These guys went from being kind of shit on at the beginning of the year to being the top heels in the company, pretty much. Awesome. Calen, biggest improvement, biggest regression, what do you got?
For the biggest, most improved, I'm agreeing New Day. I would say all members. If I had to pick one, I'd probably say Big E. I like what he brings to that group, and it's
I
definitely a
probably would do that
huge
too.
step up. He's good on the mic. I just love everything that they do. But if I had to pick one, it would be Big E. So I'm going with New Day, and like you said, kind of goes without saying. For worst improvement, sadly, I'm going to have to give it to somebody who was at the top of the mountain not too long ago, and that would be Daniel Bryan. I love Daniel Bryan. This year was not his year. He came back for all of 5 minutes at WrestleMania to reclaim the title, or got the Intercontinental title, right? And then basically got injured about a week later and had to drop the title. So talk about fall from grace. This guy, in the last couple of years has been one of my favorites. Just what's become of him is very disappointing. So I'm going to have to say Daniel Bryan.
Drew?
For most improved, it's got to be the New Day, easily. From a face team that really wasn't cheered much at the beginning of the year to being one of the best heels in the company, whether or not you agree with that, because they get cheered a lot of the time. They're entertaining, and at the end of the day, that's what really counts. So definitely New Day for most improved, but for least improved or just the worst improvement of the year, it's got to be Kane. He's got a shot, guys. And
It's gotta be Kane.
when it comes to Kane, I don't know. I've always liked the character Kane, but I thought by this point he would have been done with appearing, or he would have been relegated to mainly authority or just authority roles and not so much wrestling.
Wait. Are you talking corporate Kane or the Demon Kane?
Let me get
Because
to
they're two
it.
different guys.
I know. I'm gonna go with them both because I think they kind of look alike. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm gonna go with them both then. But just overall, I thought Kane would have sizzled out by now, wrestling, and at one point he had a main event feud, which storyline wise it made sense, but the match itself sucked, and it eventually led to Seth Rollins tearing his ACL. So at the end of the day, if he wasn't in the feud with Kane and didn't have that house show match with Kane, he probably wouldn't have torn his ACL, MCL, and LCL. So by fault, it's Kane's fault. Kane has a shot, and he ruined his shot. So I know they don't do much Kane with it now, but definitely worse improvement.
By the way, is Drew frozen and lagging on anybody's end other than just mine?
He was
Yeah,
the
that's funny.
funniest face. He was like,
I hate you guys.
All right, so
I hate everything in this chat.
Drew's internet might be kind of wonky the rest of this time.
What?
I don't know what's happening with this.
No! Hang on. So fine now?
No, it's completely not fine.
Oh, shoot. So I can't leave and join back. Is that what you're saying?
You're getting a little bit better, but we'll see what ends up happening.
Well,
in the meantime, since you already knocked out yours, we're gonna move on to Mike Paden here. Paden, improvement and recognition. We got 3 for the New Day. You're gonna make it closer to 5.
I'm sorry, it's not going to go to the New Day. Actually, first I want to do my least improved, or I guess actually a more proper term for this would be most regressed. Most regressed.
Biggest regression, I think. I have.
Biggest regression. Yeah. So that person I have to give to someone who was world heavyweight champion. Was it last year? Maybe it was 2 years ago. Either way, he was a big star not too long ago, and this year he has been a total drag and really gotten a lot of my bad side. Not quite as much as the Usos, but he's really been a thorn in my side of watching WWE this year, and that's Dolph Ziggler. That guy has fallen so much. I honestly can't wait for him just to move on. Go and be a trainer or go and do comedy, whatever the heck it is he wants to do. Or he just really needs to do something different with himself because it's not working right now. Most improved, I actually toiled over this one for quite a bit. There's a lot of great examples I think it could have gone to. New Day is certainly one, although I don't know if they so much as improved as they just kind of found their stride finally. They all kind of already had those skills, and it was just kind of setting them all on the right track to get it to work. When I'm thinking of improving, I'm thinking more of like an Emma, a Baron Corbin. A lot of people down in NXT, really.
You see Shaun at the bottom of the screen.
He's good. Yeah, Baron Corbin blew me away, actually. He was probably my favorite to go with this. Bull Dempsey is another one down there that's gotten a lot better. Blake and Murphy, a bunch of people. But when I think of the person who really, I think, made the biggest step, I have to think of someone who's actually been around for quite some time. Matter of fact, someone who has been a big, big star, and yet somehow managed to have what I think was the best year of their career this year. That's John Cena. That guy came out of nowhere to have all these absolutely amazing match of the year contenders. I gotta say, when I was thinking of my match of the year, 8 out of 10 of them could have been John Cena matches with that U.S. Open challenge. So, and to talk about the credit of that guy helping the younger generation come up with those kind of matches too, there's just so much positive things that could be said about John Cena this year. So much so that he's lost a lot of the hate that he used to have. You know, it's still there, but there's just really not that much of a split opinion on John Cena as there used to be.
It's almost like they just sing John Cena sucks because it's the thing to do more than they actually mean it.
It's catchy.
It's kind of like how you suck with Kurt Angle. It's just a fun thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So John Cena, I think, had a landmark year this year. He took himself to another level, and it was a great transitional year for him too, as he kind of went more towards the backside, and we saw people like Seth Rollins and now Roman Reigns taking up the bigger role. So when we look back at the full career of John Cena, I think 2015 might be one of the first years you have to talk about throughout the whole thing.
Shaun, who's the most improved? Who is the opposite end of that spectrum?
Least improved, I'm going to have to go with Adam Rose. I was a big fan of Adam Rose. And,
Why?
I don't know. I just liked Adam Rose. I just like the pie bus, and then the pie bus kind of derailed itself.
I did like that Beto.
And now it's no longer, it's no longer a thing. Like, the bunny took over. What the fuck happened to the bunny? Who was the bunny? Nobody knows. For most improved, I'm gonna go with a guy that I never used to like, but now is currently my favorite superstar, and that's Cesaro. I never used to like Cesaro when he was with Oksana. I thought he was fucking abysmal, and he was very robotic. But recently this year, I think it's been his best year. His feud with Kevin Owens he's been pretty amazing for me. I really rate this guy.
Alrighty, Wago, what do you think?
I don't think nothing about anybody. Worst, I've got Dolph Ziggler, pretty much for the same reason Paden said. The guy just started sucking for some reason, and I hear an echo. As far as best improvement goes, I'm going to give it to one I don't think anyone mentioned, Baron Corbin. The guy can handle himself in the ring now.
Shaun's like super excited.
Like, seriously, he got better. Before, you couldn't put him in a match longer than 3 minutes. Now he can actually hold himself in a good 15-minute match.
So he was the one to watch.
He was somebody to watch. I wouldn't say he's the one to watch.
Well, that takes us into kind of an unfortunate side of things. It's future endeavors. Who are we happy to see leave this year, and who are we unhappy to see go? So it's not really like a best and the worst, because you have like the best firing ever, that kind of a thing. These are older guys on my end of the spectrum. We had a whole list of people from NXT, people from the main roster, women, men, referees, whatever the case may be. I'm going to go with the happy one first. I was happy to see Rey Mysterio go. And that's partially because he just hasn't been doing it for me lately. And the past couple of years, he's been just a bane on the company, I think. Like, he eats up a paycheck, and he doesn't do all that much. He wrestles a little bit here and there, and I don't like his matches anymore. So why pay him to do nothing? I think that they saved probably quite a bit of money that's now going to an NXT guy, like an Apollo Crews or something, who he can give a lot more to the company than Rey Mysterio. Unhappy, though. And I gotta kind of dance around this a little bit, but it's not in the way that you think it is, but it's Hulk Hogan. I do think that he should have been released from the company. So it's not that in that kind of regard, but it's something where I think it's more so just I hate the idea that Hulk Hogan now has another hurdle he has to go through. And I liked the idea that Hulk Hogan was back in the company and that he was going to finish out everything and he was going to give back to the younger guys, and he was on Tough Enough, which was cool. It made sense. And I was just looking forward to him riding out the last couple of years that he has to be able to do this stuff in the company. And now it's going to be years before he'll end up coming back again, if ever. So I feel kind of, I don't know, a little bit too bad for the guy, I guess. I don't know. But Wago, what do you think? Who were you happy to see go, and who were you most disappointed to see go?
I'm typically never happy to hear that anybody lost their job, unless they're a dick. And there was someone who was a dick. Seth Rollins' girl, whatever her name was, Zara
Zara Schreiber, I think.
Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah, that bitch. I'm glad she's gone. Yeah, fuck her. As far as sad about, yeah, fuck her. I was sad that Rey Mysterio got let go because I like Rey. Did you put a blue dot in his face?
Yeah, Paden is in Christian mode right now.
And well, I actually could tell that was blue. That was good. And I was sad to hear Billy Gunn got fired because I wanted to see the New Age Outlaws again. Now I can't.
Billy Gunn was my number 2. I almost picked him. Shaun, who were you happy to see go? Who were you disappointed to see go?
Who I was disappointed with the most to see leave was AJ Lee. I think the Divas division hasn't recovered since she's left, which is a shame because she would be. I think she'd still be the longest reigning WWE Divas champion if she was still in the company, but as it is, shit happens. And with all the rest, I really just don't give a shit. Wasn't Great Khali on this list?
Nah, he was released last year.
Oh, then sucks to be him. But yeah, everybody else can just go fucking knob. You know, Hulk Hogan brought it on himself for being racist. It's just his fault.
Christian, what do you think happened with the assassination of JFK?
Don't look at me.
How long?
3 hours.
All right, Paden.
Wait, you can't look at him anyway. He's got a blue dot on his face.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, all right. So now, Paden, what do you think? What are your picks?
Well, I'll give you one guess who my saddest to see go is.
AJ Lee.
No, it's Christian. It's Christian. That's
there
actually
you go. There's the Todd Grisham one.
If I said a little too excited.
Yeah.
The guy deserved better than to go out the way he did, where he was just kind of silently moved over to the alumnus page. The guy put his body on the line so much over the years. He actually had a really decent main event run a few years ago. He's been a very loyal company guy. He deserved better than to go out this way. At least have like a small ceremony during a pay-per-view or something, even on a pre-show, if that. They didn't do anything. They just kind of like stuck him around on a pre-show panel for a little bit, and then him and Edge had like a reunion tour, and then that was it. So, as far as the one I was happiest to see go, it's really tough because none of these people that really got fired mattered much to me. At least not to the point where I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm so glad that person was gone. So I guess if I had to go out with anybody, I would say Solomon Crowe because he was kind of getting on my nerves towards the end.
Yeah, that's a good choice. Drew, happy, sad, what do you go?
Happy to see go. Also going to go with Solomon Crowe. The Go Crow connection is alive and just wasn't used. Just wasn't that good. And yeah.
Was that fucking English?
I don't know. That was weird that they didn't try to like repackage him, but who knows. So he's my glad to see go. The one I wasn't happy to see go, and I was so disappointed because favorite diva of all time, Layla, decided to hung him up. But it's all good. You might make fun of her and her chubby legs. I don't like them chicken legs. So you do what you gotta do.
Calen, round us out here. Who's a good release and who's a bad one?
All right. I'm going to, I almost said Solomon Crowe as well, but I'm going to go with somebody else from NXT that I never really liked. I didn't like his gimmick. He just bored me to tears in the ring. Maybe he has time to go take a freaking bath now, and that was CJ Parker. Get that guy off my TV. Never liked him. Never liked what he did. So good riddance. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. As far as who I'm sad to see go, some of you guys already said it. I got to go with AJ Lee. She was the Divas division for a long time. She was obviously the most skilled of all the women for quite a while. And I really think it's a shame that we're now not going to be able to see her feud with, Charlotte and Becky and Sasha and Bayley. And I think she could bring a lot to this Divas revolution. So I got to go with AJ Lee. Bring her back.
Yeah. Well, she.
I know she's not coming back.
She never beat Layla to win that title at the top of her prime.
Will she be Layla?
I don't know. Maybe Layla.
Okay.
So that brings us into ring skills, and we don't need really an explanation for what the hell that's supposed to mean. If you don't know, then you're not a wrestling fan, and you probably should not be watching this. But worst ring skills, Rosa Mendez. I don't need to explain it. Best ring skills, Kevin Owens. I almost gave this to Dolph Ziggler, and I'm sure that a couple people here are glad that I didn't give it to Dolph Ziggler, but Kevin Owens is somebody who has had some amazing matches this year, and to a level that I didn't think that he could. This guy does a moonsault, for Christ's sake. And he is just, there's something different about when he wrestles. Like he gets the psychology, he gets the pacing of the match better than a lot of people and stuff. Kevin Owens, easily my pick for the best ring skills. Calen.
All right, for best ring skills, all right, despite the fact, disregarding the crappy pedigree that he borrowed, I'm going to go with Seth Rollins. I like watching that guy in the ring. I think he is definitely, well, okay, we'll get to that later. I'm not going to spoil anything. As far as worst ring skills, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go with the future legend, Eric Rowan. Never been impressed with the guy. Well, first of all, needs a new outfit, too. He's not doing it for me.
Even when you look in the crystal ball and you see how much of a future legend he's going to be.
That's true. It's amazing, but I'm going to have to go with Eric Rowan, man. Jeez.
Everybody drinking their imaginary.
Breaks my heart.
All right, Drew. Ring skills, what do you got?
My turn already. Huh. Okay, well.
I wasn't prepared for this.
I don't know what ring skills mean.
I shouldn't be a part of this panel.
It's going to freeze again.
All right,
don't worry, Drew. This is your last one.
Thank God. So for worst ring skills, I had down Big Show, but I thought that was too easy. And since Tony took the easy route and just gave it to Rosa Mendez, that's kind of like giving Undertaker the best entrance. Yeah, we already knew that. So be fucking original for once, for crying out loud.
I tell you what's an original joke.
I was the only one.
Rosa Mendez is the easy.
My turn to talk, guys.
I was the only one who said Undertaker.
Anyways, for worse, I'm going to just go with either Connor or Victor. I can't tell them apart. They look the same, even though they don't. So those are my worst.
All right.
For best ring skills, I'm going to pull my list because I had 8 guys down. That's how Really, I was like, well, these are 8 guys I would consider as the best, but if I had to pick from one of them, I think I'm going to go with Tyson Kidd as well. Tyson Kidd was always was entertained by the guy, and I know I already gave him something for, like, best when it comes to underrated, but he's really a hand that could definitely be used more if they ever decide to, use his talents. And the back thing was pretty fucking awesome before they just decided not to use it. I know they started to use it more before he got injured, but definitely when he gets back, hopefully they use him because that guy could go with anyone and make it a fantastic match. 5 stars all around.
Paden, what do you think?
He's one of those giant fucking Canadian heads.
Ring skills. I am actually going to be going with 2 divas for this one.
2 divas. Did you Google your answer?
For best ring skills, I am going with the same person I said was most unappreciated, and that is Sasha Banks. She is seriously some next level shit. Something that neither division, I think, has anyone else that could stand up to what she could do. So that's who I'm going with the top on that. And then for the worst, Eva Marie. She's just total dog shit. There's nothing else to say.
What's worse, being dog shit or dog puke?
Well, if the dog pukes it, then eats it, and then shits it out.
Okay. Makes sense.
But then eats that up and then vomits it out.
And then pukes it up, because that's some gross-ass shit.
Alright, Shaun, what do you got? Best and worst ring skills?
Best ring skills, I've gone with Cesaro yet again. This is going to be a lot of pro Cesaro shit. So if you don't like Cesaro, go fuck yourself. The worst, I have gone with Roman Reigns. because all he does is a fucking spear and a Samoan drop and a Superman punch. Learn some goddamn fucking moves, you fucking knob.
He does. He
Bret
knows how to do a
Hart,
powerbomb.
Shawn Michaels all only used 5 moves.
Yeah, well, at least
He
they
did a
got 5
suplex.
moves.
Stone Cold used 2.
Punch and flip someone off.
And exactly, that's why I never liked Stone Cold Steve Austin.
The Rock only did 3.
Okay, thanks, Drew.
Good input, Drew.
The Rock only did 3.
All right, Wago, round us out with the ring skills.
Alright, so for the worst, I gave it to Adam Rose. I don't think I've ever seen him wrestle a good match. Can someone tell me a good Adam Rose match? Am I missing something? No? Didn't think so. Best, Kevin Owens. The John Cena matches are proof of that.
So that takes us into Mike skills, the opposite end of the spectrum for that kind of stuff. Mike skills, again, another thing I shouldn't have to explain to you. Worst, Stephen Marie. Just no. Best, Kevin Owens. For all the same kind of reasons that I gave from the ring skills, it's the same when it comes to the mic skills. This guy understands what he needs to do. He's somebody who, when he's a heel and people start cheering him, he tells them something that makes them boo him. And there's nobody better at doing that and keeping everything entertaining and keeping everything to the right pace that he needs to keep it at. He doesn't stutter. If he does stutter, he brings it up as like, well, fuck you, I stuttered, I don't care, I'm gonna kick your ass, like that kind of thing. He does his job perfectly. And there's never been a single promo from his that I can remember that I was bored with or just wanted it to end or anything. So, Kevin Owens, you get the good end. Even Ray, you get the bad end. Wago, what do you think? Mike skills.
Well, Flo.
Well,
Dying.
let me eat my hand real quick. Oh.
Yeah. Okay, I got my voice back. The best, I wanted to give it to Kevin Owens, but I couldn't. Paul Heyman's just the best promo, period. Best promo in wrestling in a long time. But Kevin Owens is doing a hell of a job, but every time Heyman gets on there, he just commands the camera.
Do you remember that one Austin 316 promo? That was a good promo, but the Paul Heyman, that was a good promo.
The Paul Heyman. Adam Rose, worst promo, and I based that off his recent segments recently. They've been the worst segments on Raw in a long time.
Poor Adam Rose, man. If I wouldn't have given it to Stephen Marie, I would have given it to Adam Rose.
Yeah, he's got most of the negatives on my list.
Mm-hmm. And it's justified. Shaun, Mike skills, who you going with?
Best Mike skills. I have gone with John Cena. Since he's done his US Open challenge, he's grown a lot on me, and I'm never bored when John Cena's on TV anymore. I really miss John Cena since he's been away, which is a shame. Worst, I have gone with Roman Reigns. Believe that. Enough said.
Paden, what do you got with Mike skills?
Best, I have to agree with Wago. Paul Heyman just gotten better with age. He was on fire this year with all the Brock Lesnar matches we had with the Undertaker through the year and the WrestleMania main event. Paul Heyman basically sold that main event by himself. That was the only thing running for that main event going into it. The worst, Darren Young. Holy shit, that guy was horrendous here. When they put him on commentary, and then when he tried to do that one backstage segment where they were trying to pull on WWE Shop, Dap.
Oh, God, yeah. I just forgot about that immediately.
Dap.
Thank God you did.
Dap.
I was waiting for a third one. All right, Drew, Mike skills.
Yeah, for worst, Darren Young, and there's a reason why the Primetime Play is probably my worst tag team of the year, because they fucking suck. 100%.
Man, your ceiling must be fucking awesome.
I know. It is.
Okay, then.
Best mic talker of the year. I had it down between Kevin Owens and Paul Heyman, but you guys brought up some good points. I'm going to go with Triple H.
All right, Calen, Mike skills.
Okay, for best mic skills, I put 2 because I didn't know if we were counting managers along with this, but if we are counting managers and a couple of you guys did put Paul Heyman, definitely Paul Heyman. He is the best talker in the biz, best talker in a long time. He is the one who's going to sell the matches. He gets me excited and interested. He knows how to play the crowd. He knows exactly what to say to get the right reactions out of people. And I can't sing his praises enough. So Paul Heyman, definitely. If we were not including managers, I was going to have to go with the New Day and specifically Xavier. Thank you. Specifically Xavier Woods, because that guy on the mic, I mean, a huge improvement, and he just really knows how to play the crowd. And I don't know if the mic on the trombone counts as a mic also, but so I'm going to say Xavier Woods if we're not counting, but definitely Paul Heyman, way above. As far as worst mic skills, I'm going to go with a guy who desperately needs a manager. I haven't cared about a damn thing as he's done ever since he split off from the Real Americans, and that would be Mr. Jack Swagger. This guy needs a mouthpiece. He's just not, every time he's been on the mic by himself, I just don't care. Who cares? And yes, Darren Young is pretty bad as well, but he's usually paired up with Titus, so that gives him a few extra bonus points, I would say, in my opinion. But as far as being by themselves, Jack Swagger cannot handle it by himself. He drowns.
That brings us into title reign, and this is obviously who has the best and worst title reign. Nothing really to explain on that one either. And we had quite a bit of different ranges when it came to different people here, and you can find out all of them on smarkoutmoment.com, of course. Worst title reign, Daniel Bryan's Intercontinental title reign. It was basically not a title reign, and it ended in the worst possible way that a title reign can end, which is a guy just stops existing as a part of the roster. No payoff to it, no build. I mean, we were getting at the beginning of the year, there was this idea that the US title and the IC title would end up getting a huge resurgence, and we were supposed to get that with John Cena and Daniel Bryan, but Daniel Bryan didn't hold up his end of the bargain. He ended up getting injured, and then, transitioned to Ryback, and then Ryback got injured and stuff. It was just a bane on the whole thing for the rest of the year. Opposite end of the spectrum, though, best title reign, John Cena's U.S. Open Challenge just proves that was the best one, without a doubt. I don't even think I need to explain it any further than that. So, Calen, what do you think? Title reigns, who gets the best, who gets the worst?
Yeah, bitch.
For the best, I think that's pretty easy. I got to agree with you, Tony. John Cena's U.S. Open Challenge, it's one of the most interesting things, one of the most entertaining things to have appeared on Raw and the pay-per-views. So I don't even have to go through and list the matches. You guys know. They were great. As far as the worst title run, I'm going to have to go with Nikki Bella's Divas title run. First of all, she didn't defend it enough. When she did defend it, the matches more often than not were not of great quality. When Charlotte won, it didn't really seem to mean a whole lot. And I think they pretty much only kept the belt on her so that they could break AJ Lee's record. And that's a shitty reason to keep a belt on somebody, for spite. So I'm going to go with the worst being Nikki. What the hell are you guys doing?
Nothing.
Drew,
Well,
best of the worst title reign.
For best title reign, for overall quality, it's gonna have to be John Cena's first U.S. title reign. Calen, I don't know what you were doing, but you're a girl, so that sucks. But for just overall enjoyment, it definitely would be Cesaro and Tyson Kidd, just because two of my favorite had the tag team titles, so I'm gonna have to go with them. Now, when it comes to worst titles, it's a tie between two, and it was the Primetime Players tag team reign, and it was pointless, useless. There was no reason for them to win it. Nothing came about it. All it is now is that the New Day said they're two-time tag team champions. They could have had one long reign, and it would have been better. And also, I'm going to go with Charlotte, just because she's a terrible Divas champion. Calen complained about Nikki. Nikki wasn't too bad. Charlotte, they try and they fail. So, I'm going to go with Charlotte. And also, yeah, Reed Flair might have died, but I think he would have held the Divas title better.
Maybe he should have died in the womb.
Was that this year or was that last year?
What, the womb thing? That was last year. That was last year, so that's
Yeah, that was after SummerSlam last year.
Yep.
It's so bad that you just think it was the shit.
That was that Jerry Springer thing, right?
The wound is still fresh.
Well,
The
the womb
wound.
is
The wound.
Paden, who's the best title reign, who's the worst?
Best title reign, without a doubt, John Cena's United States Open Challenge run. The first one especially. The second one was a nice little extra extension to it, but the first one was the one that really was special. Worst is one that we're still in right now, and that's Charlotte's current Divas title run. She did not deserve this at all. It should have either gone back to Paige or Sasha Banks. It definitely had to come off of Nikki, but Charlotte's run has been very lackluster. They can't make up their mind whether they want her to be a babyface or a heel, and frankly, I don't think she's very good at either one of them. So I'm giving her the worst.
Shaun?
No, it's just gonna be Roman Reigns. So there you go.
What do you mean?
Didn't Shaun already go?
I accidentally spilt my lager again.
Dude, you should just know who the best and the worst are.
Best, I have gone with John Cena's United States title. And I am going to have to agree with Paden. The worst is currently held by somebody who is currently on the roster, obviously, which is Roman Reigns. Because fuck that guy. Fuck him to hell and back. I really don't like this guy. He's so boring. He's so bland. I'm like, fucking God, just get him off my fucking television.
See, guys, I told you it was gonna be Roman Reigns.
But he's the champ. Believe that.
He doesn't know how to.
I'd rather believe in your mom.
Fair enough.
Ooh, Drew's bomb.
All right, Wago.
All right, so for the best title reign, it's been said and it's going to be said again. John Cena's U.S. Open Challenge was way too much fun. We actually enjoyed wrestling for a little bit with John Cena. As far as the worst goes, Roman Reigns' first title reign, because it should have never came to an end. I didn't agree with the Sheamus decision. It was fucking stupid. Fuck Sheamus. And whoever's echoing, fix that.
I'm pretty sure that Shaun's going to try to blame the echo on Roman Reigns. Match of the Year is our last one for the technical awards section, and that's pretty self-explanatory as well. I had two options that I couldn't quite decide until the last minute for the worst of the year, and I almost gave it to the Beat the Clock challenge match between Paige and Sasha Banks, because that one ended in like 2 minutes, and it made Sasha just look terrible for no reason whatsoever. However, something that was even less than that, and amounted to less than that, and was just like a good addition of just like, wait, what the fuck just happened? That kind of a thing. Neville and the Lucha Dragons versus Stardust and the Ascension on Monday Night Raw from the 14th of September, if I'm looking at the right thing here. That was a match that started as quickly as it ended. I mean, there was a referee out there, so it wasn't just like a segment where one person tried to beat somebody else down and whatever. They rushed the living shit out of this, and I don't know if they were supposed to have an actual match or what, but they ended up having that match at the pay-per-view, which was later on that week, and just the booking of this idea was absolutely retarded. You don't have these people go to do a match, and they do botched hurricanranas and botched other stuff, and then just end it immediately. I mean, if you go back and you watch this, the referee is on the outside of the ring. Like, he immediately just goes, oh my God, people are running to the ring for their match? What am I going to do? Like, the referee looks like an idiot. And then they do their couple of botched spots that were just not impressive at all. And immediately when Stardust gets thrown out of the ring, the Ascension grabs him, and the music comes right on. Like, we're just going to go right to the next segment. Not even like that 10 seconds of like, well, the heroes are clearly going to just leave, so let's put on the whatever. It was horribly done. Best match of the year, I couldn't quite decide between two, and I had to, at the last minute, just kind of flip a coin, really. But I went with one that was more influential, Sasha Banks versus Bayley at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. And the secondary one was Sasha Banks versus Bayley at the Respect TakeOver. It's there's been a lot of good matches this year, and there's other ones that I'm sure people are going to bring up, but this is the most influential, best match of the year as far as I'm concerned, and it's something that is also given a little bit of an extra boost because it's a Divas match, and they're usually so awful when they're not in NXT, so it just goes to show how damn good this was, that the next pay-per-view, people wanted it to be the main event. And not only did they want it to be the main event, between that match and the one at NXT TakeOver Respect, the people in the crowd were chanting women's wrestling. So anybody who has a problem with, the fans don't give them enough respect, they do when they earn it. And these two definitely earned it. And I think that...
Oh, are you saying that means that was a good name for that pay-per-view?
Not at all. If we had an award for worst pay-per-view name of the year, it would go to. It probably wouldn't go to
Fastlane.
It would probably go to Fastlane. Fastlane or TLC.
The WrestleMania.
Yeah, NXT Takeover Respect. I hate that name still, but that match at Brooklyn, so good. Who went last time? I don't remember.
I think I went last.
There you go. Go ahead.
Worst? Orton vs. Sheamus. Seen it too many times. Stop. Best? Lesnar vs. Cena vs. Rollins. Best match that the WWE's had all year in my books. Very fun match. We had that awesome Phoenix Splash from Seth Rollins, and it was just chaotic, but it was booked just right.
Shaun?
I haven't got a worst because pretty much everything has been fucking terrible. Apart
So
from
shouldn't you have too many worse? If that was the case?
I've got too many good. Apparently. For good, I have got Bayley versus Sasha Banks, Brooklyn. That was pretty good. But the one that's taken it for me was Raw, the 3rd of the 8th, 2015, Neville versus Seth Rollins for the WWE title. The way that it finished, the way Seth Rollins almost lost the title, I almost believed that Neville was going to be the first Englishman to be world champ. And
You
it was
almost
taken away
believed
from me.
that.
It was taken away from me.
We'll believe
Taken away
again.
from me. He should never have gone up for a second one. He should never have gone up for a second Red Arrow. He should have, I don't know, curb stomped the cunt.
All right, Paden, best and worst match of the year.
Well, for worst, it's funny. As soon as I saw the worst title award, and I was trying to think back of this year what the worst I saw was, I instantly thought of the same one you said, Tony. That abomination they had on Raw of a 6-man tag with Neville's team against Stardust team. That was horrendous, and it was just a total joke. I didn't even know what happened at the time. Remember, we were talking on the post show. We were just trying to make sense. We were trying to ask the chat room, like, can someone explain this to us? What the hell happened here?
Yeah,
And
we all thought that maybe we missed, like, that they announced it wasn't a match or that, like, there was a DQ that happened or something weird.
Mm-hmm.
It was just kind of like, we couldn't have. It couldn't have been that bad, right? Like,
And then we had another semi-close instance to that recently with that, what was it, Jack Swagger and somebody. I remember we just came back from commercial break and they were in a match. We're like, oh, we're in a match, okay. As far as best, it's funny, 2 of the 3 options that you guys have said so far, I was lucky enough to have been there live for, and that was that triple threat at Royal Rumble and the Brooklyn match. And as I said before, there were a lot of John Cena matches that we had this year that were absolutely amazing as well. A slew of them in NXT and other companies out there as well, which we have not mentioned much in a lot of these awards. But I have to go with the same one that you went with again, Tony. I'm agreeing on both of them. Bayley versus Sasha Banks, NXT Brooklyn. That truly set the bar for what this whole women's revolution thing was supposed to be, which started a little while ago. It's been ramping up for a while, but those ladies truly showed that they could go out there and have a match that was deserving of the main event. Honestly, a lot of people were talking beforehand that match should have been the main event of Brooklyn, but it was what it was. The crowd ate it up. I was there up on the top level, and yet I still felt the magic of that. The post-match celebration, everything involved with that match from beginning to end was just something special. And I'll tell you, I don't even rate that just the best match of this year. I rate that the best women's match of all time. And I might even say not top 10, but absolutely top 20 matches of all time overall.
It's hard to argue against it. I mean, I did give it mine too, so I'm not gonna be like, that wasn't that fucking good.
20 matches of all time. If I broke it down, I don't think it'd make it, but I'd have to sit down and think about it.
Maybe.
All right, Drew, what are your 2 choices, Drew?
For best match of the year, definitely has to be the triple threat WWE World Heavyweight Championship match from the Rumble. Got me so pumped. I was so excited for the match. Because the first 2 matches were kind of meh. Then it went to this match, and what could have been a train wreck turned out to be a fantastic match. From the Phoenix Splash to the elbow drop, Brock Lesnar kind of being taken out of the match for a second, and just the possibility of a few times had me believe that Brock Lesnar was going to walk out the champion. So this was a fantastic match overall, best match of the year. For worst match of the year was the match that followed this, if I remember correctly, and that's the Rumble match. And the match itself wasn't terrible. It was just badly booked. This has to be one of the worst booked Rumbles of all time. I was not a fan of Bray Wyatt just cleaning house at the beginning of the match, and that I wasn't into that. Once they eliminated Daniel Bryan, I was like, okay, well, let's see what they do. And there's no highlights from this match, not a single one. So just completely disappointed with how the match was played out. Not even mad that Reigns won, just a terrible match as when it comes to booking.
Calen, your best and your worst match of the year. What do they go to?
All right. The Bailey Sasha matches were good, and I consider them very high on the list, but they don't make my top two. I was split between two different matches here. One that nobody mentioned yet was one of Cena's U.S. Open challenges, and that was Cesaro versus Cena, and I believe that was Monday Night Raw, and it was fantastic. I couldn't believe how good it was way better than most pay-per-view matches. But that did not get my top spot. For my number one, I am going with one that a couple of you guys already said, and that would be the Royal Rumble title match. That was the triple threat, Cena, Lesnar, and Rollins. Man, every one of those guys looked good coming out of that. Lesnar looked like a freaking beast. I think Cena hit him with 4 AAs. One of them he got up on one. One of them he got up before Cena could even go for the pin. You had the spot with the announce table where Rollins goes off the turnbuckle onto the announce table, and it was booked perfectly. Each one of those guys came out looking way better than they possibly could have. So I'm going to say that one was fantastic. That gets my number one. I think that's 3 of us all saying that.
All right, well, that's it for the technical award sections. We got a couple more sections we're going to do a little bit later on in other videos, but you're going to have to click on those to find out what we think about the writing awards, which is next, the performer awards, which is after that, and then the Smack Talk awards, which is after that. So, technical awards down the drain. Make sure you leave your comments below. As I mentioned before, tell us what you think were the best and the worst of the categories that we just broke down, and click on part 2 for the writing awards.